My name was trending online with the word dead next to it. I watched my own funeral unfold in a chat window while my pulse beat steadily in my chest. Thousands of strangers filled the comment section with crying and shock. My daughter's tearful face dominated the video thumbnail. She was narrating a tragedy to strangers while I sat, fully alive, in the very next room. Questions slammed into me like cold water. How could my child tell the world I was gone? Why would she fake my death for more views? I felt equal parts invisible and exposed, alive and erased. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound. As my reflection stared back from the black screen, I whispered to myself, "This is not going to end the way she thinks." I closed the laptop and took a breath. But let me start from the beginning. I grew up in a modest town where birthdays and secrets were public knowledge. My name is Margaret Turner, though everyone calls me Maggie. I'm a mid-50s nurse at the local hospital and a mother of two. My husband Richard and I raised our children to value kindness over clicks. On Sundays, we volunteered at the food pantry, and I baked casseroles for neighbors who lived alone. I sewed costumes, hosted sleepovers, and tutored my son Michael while my daughter Lily learned to braid my hair. We weren't perfect, yet our home was filled with laughter. Lily was always a firecracker with Richard's bright eyes and my stubborn chin. As a girl, she sang and danced boldly on coffee tables, thriving under applause. When she turned 13, we gave her a smartphone. At first, it kept us connected, but it soon became an extension of her hand. TikTok dances, reels, and challenges consumed her after school. Unlike the shy boy who preferred books, Lily was drawn to the camera like a moth to a light. She loved watching her follower count climb, and I assumed it was harmless. Richard and I supported our children as best we could. My salary covered the bills and the occasional family vacation. Richard, a mechanic, rarely complained. When Lily wanted equipment for her channel, we found a way to afford it. When she asked me to join a cooking video, I tied an apron and smiled. We laughed at our failed macarons, and for a moment, I felt closer to her. My work at the hospital taught me resilience and empathy. I held patients' hands in their darkest hours and celebrated with families when loved ones recovered. I worked double shifts to pay Michael's tuition and skipped replacing our car so Lily could attend dance camp. I gave without keeping score. That's what mothers do, or so I thought. Growing up as the eldest of 4 in a close-knit town taught me that family and community mattered more than money. My parents, Eleanor and George, filled our lives with potlucks, fairs, and weekly library trips. Those experiences inspired me to give my children the same sense of belonging, which made it harder to see when my giving became enabling. As Lily's presence grew, so did her appetite for attention. She barged in, filming me without warning, asking if I was embarrassed. She posted the clip with a mocking caption, and colleagues teased me. I brushed it off, assuming teenage humor. Later, she slammed whipped cream into my face on camera. The clip went viral. As I cleaned the mess alone, she edited for the algorithm. I told myself it was a phase. The pranks escalated. She staged a fake suspension call with her cousin Samuel. My panic turned to irritation when she jumped out, yelling, "Gotcha!" When I protested, she insisted it was just content. Her disregard stung. I asked her to stop humiliating pranks. She agreed, but days later she dumped my clothes onto the lawn on a live stream, claiming it was charity. Neighbors watched me gather underwear while she filmed. When I confronted her about respect and privacy, she dismissed me and said I should stay out of her career. The more we tried to connect, the further she retreated into her digital persona. She skipped dinners and volunteering to post at prime times. Our conversations shrank to grunts. When I expressed concern, she accused me of stifling her dreams. The gap between us widened. We discovered she had taken out a predatory loan for a new camera without telling us. Debt collectors called, and Richard confronted her. She shrugged, promising sponsorships would pay it off. That night we argued about how to rein her in. We were losing her to a world we didn't understand. The final straw before the breaking point happened on my 50th birthday. Michael surprised me by flying home, and we invited friends over for dinner. As I cut the cake, Lily streamed a challenge promising I'd donate $1 for every like. The video went viral and emptied our account. When I confronted her about committing my money without consent, she argued she was helping charity. Resentment simmered. After that incident, trends became excuses for disrespect. A few days later, a popular challenge encouraged teenagers to address their parents by their first names on camera. Lily burst into the kitchen with her phone and chirped, "Hey, Margaret, can you grab me a soda?" The familiarity sent a jolt through me. "Excuse me?" I said, raising an eyebrow. She laughed and panned the camera to her face, whispering to her audience, "She hates it when I call her by her name." When I told her to stop and reminded her that respect mattered, she rolled her eyes. "It's just a trend, Margaret," she teased, leaning on my name like it was a prop. "And I am not your content," I replied quietly, trying to keep the hurt from my voice. That clip racked up 500,000 likes in 24 hours. Another video challenge involved revealing embarrassing family stories for views. Lily sat on her bed, camera angled just right, and told her followers about the time Richard and I couldn't afford a new dishwasher and washed dishes in the bathtub to save on water. She laughed about how poor we had been. I was folding laundry in the doorway when I heard my life reduced to entertainment. "Lily, that was our reality, not a joke," I said, stunned. "It shows how far we've come," she argued, not looking at me. "It shows that you're ashamed of the people who raised you," I thought, but didn't say. Instead, I asked her to delete the video. She refused, citing freedom of expression. Later that night, my sister Jenny called, hurt that Lily had told the world about our family's struggles. The ripple effect of her content spread beyond our household, straining ties I'd spent decades nurturing. The last incident before the breaking point was both petty and painful. Lily announced a destroy my old phone stunt, promising her followers she'd smash my decade-old smartphone on camera and surprise me with a new one paid for by sponsorship money. She snatched my phone off the counter and began to pry off the case while broadcasting live. Panic flared. That phone contained patient contacts, emergency numbers, and photos not stored anywhere else. "Lily, stop!" I shouted, grabbing for it. She dodged me, laughing as her viewers egged her on. "It's just a phone," she giggled, holding it above her head. I grabbed her wrist and felt the slim device slip. It hit the tile and shattered. A cheer erupted from her screen. My throat tightened with tears as I collected the shards. "I didn't agree to this," I said, voice shaking. "Don't be dramatic, Mom. I'll buy you a new one," she replied, unfazed. That night, I sat on my bed scrolling through social media on Michael's old tablet, reading comments calling me ungrateful for not appreciating Lily's generosity. The disconnect between perception and reality was staggering. In those moments, I began to realize that my daughter's online persona had swallowed the girl I once knew. Months passed with this pattern of boundary pushing and apologies that sounded more like justifications. I still believed I could steer Lily back toward empathy with enough patience. Then came the day my daughter killed me for likes. It was a crisp autumn morning. I was scheduled for a night shift, so I planned to nap in the afternoon. Lily knocked on my door and asked if she could film a day-in-the-life video of me getting ready for work. "Nothing crazy, just a behind the scenes," she promised with a sweet smile, reminiscent of the girl who used to braid my hair. I agreed, thinking it might be a chance to bond. She followed me around with her camera as I prepared dinner for Richard and cleaned the kitchen. We chatted about my patience, my love for gardening, and the charm of small-town life. She asked me to sit in my rocking chair and talk about mortality. "As a nurse, how do you cope with losing people?" she asked. I answered honestly, sharing how each loss made me cherish the living. She nodded thoughtfully. That's deep, Mom. Let's get some tea. I'll make you something to help you relax before your nap. She brought me a cup of chamomile, which I drank without question. Within minutes, my eyelids grew heavy. I'll just rest my eyes, I murmured, unaware that she had slipped a sedative into my drink. When I woke hours later, the house was dark. My phone buzzed incessantly on the nightstand. I stumbled to the kitchen, still groggy, and found Richard pacing, his face pale. "Maggie, thank God," he whispered, pulling me into his arms. "You're alive." Confused, I looked at the television screen where a live video played. There I was, lying motionless in my rocking chair, my skin pale from the cold tone filter, my hands folded across my chest like a corpse. Lily knelt beside me, tears streaming down her cheeks as she whispered, "My mom passed away in her sleep. Please send prayers." A donation link scrolled across the screen. Comments flooded in. "Stay strong. She's with the angels. We're donating, Queen." Rage and disbelief collided inside me. I reached for my laptop and opened Lily's social media page. The video had already gone viral. She had set up a crowdfunding campaign for funeral expenses. The goal had already been surpassed. My heart pounded as I scrolled through the messages. Some were genuinely sympathetic. Others accused Lily of exploiting tragedy, unaware that the tragedy itself was fake. I clenched my fists. This was beyond pranks or spontaneous challenges. My daughter had drugged me, staged my death, and monetized grief. The facade of innocence shattered. All the times I forgave her replayed in my mind like a montage. My patience, my sacrifices, my trust. She had packaged them into content for strangers. For the first time, I allowed myself to consider that love without boundaries can become enabling. I sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Lily filmed cooking videos and pranks, and cried. Richard watched me, torn between anger at our daughter and relief that I was alive. "We have to do something," he said. "We can't let her get away with this." In that moment, a quiet determination settled over me. I was a mother, yes, but I was also a nurse, a citizen, a woman with agency. I had always assumed my role was to protect my children from harm. I now saw that sometimes protecting them means holding them accountable. Years earlier, I had taken cybersecurity workshops after a patient's grandson hacked records, and I befriended Detective Carolyn Pierce at the hospital. Those experiences equipped me to gather evidence and involve the authorities. I decided to turn Lily's tactics back on her. Richard refunded the donations while I compiled recordings of the live stream. I called Carolyn, explained what Lily had done, and she confirmed it constituted fraud and assault. She asked if I would press charges. After all the apologies I had swallowed, I said yes. She needed to understand the seriousness of her actions. Hanging up that call, I sat at the kitchen table with Richard and dialed Michael at his dorm. "Are we doing the right thing?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. There was a long pause on the line. "Mom, she drugged you and told the world you were dead," Michael said, anger and hurt threading through his calm tone. "If you let this slide, what's next? Sometimes love looks like stopping someone before they wreck themselves." Richard squeezed my hand and nodded. I knew he was torn. He loved his daughter as fiercely as I did, yet we both recognized that turning a blind eye would only feed the monster of attention that had consumed her. That evening, we drafted an honest letter to Lily, outlining the legal and moral boundaries she had crossed and the expectations we had moving forward. Writing it was like stitching a wound, painful but necessary. I cried more than once, mourning the innocence we were about to shatter. We also reached out to the platform hosting her account. With Carolyn's guidance, we submitted reports documenting the fraudulent fundraiser and requested that the funds be frozen. I contacted our bank to flag unusual transfers. My nursing background helped me remain methodical, but the tasks were emotionally draining. I thought about the little girl who used to draw hearts on my lunch bags. I thought about the teenager who had confided in me after her first heartbreak. Somewhere along the way, the algorithm had replaced my arms as her comfort. Determined to reach that girl again, I rehearsed what I would say on camera. I didn't want my words to be vindictive. I wanted them to be clear, to slice through the fog of denial like a scalpel. Michael helped me test the equipment, adjusting the lighting so my eyes were not shadowed. Richard practiced standing behind the camera to hold it steady. We were a surgical team preparing for a delicate operation, not to humiliate Lily, but to excise the infection of deceit before it spread further. Together, Carolyn and I devised a plan mirroring Lily's flair for drama. If she used live video to exploit, I would use it to expose. I scheduled a conversation and warned Lily we needed to talk before the police were involved. She arrived, ready with excuses about raising awareness. "You drugged me and told the world I was dead," I said. "That's fraud." She scoffed and said her followers would riot if we punished her. Instead of arguing, I invited her to sit where she had staged my death and pointed to my own camera. She rolled her eyes but sat. On record, I told viewers that she had lied about my death for money and that I was alive. Then Detective Carolyn stepped into frame with her badge and calmly read Lily her rights. Lily's mouth opened and closed. "Mom, what are you doing?" she whispered. "I'm giving you the truth. Live for everyone to see," I replied as Carolyn handcuffed her. Messages in the chat ranged from anger to applause. As she was escorted out, she turned to me with tears. "I'm sorry, Mom," she said. "Do you understand why this is happening?" I asked. She nodded. "Because I hurt you and lied to everyone," she whispered. "Because actions have consequences," I added. The video went viral within hours. Headlines screamed about an influencer being arrested on Livestream. Some called me vengeful, others saw justice. I didn't enjoy humiliating her. My goal was to show that exploitation has real repercussions and to remind her of the humanity she had forgotten in search of likes. After the live stream, our house was eerily quiet. Lily spent 2 nights in jail before her trial. She was sentenced to community service, therapy, and restitution. Sponsors dropped her, and her accounts were suspended. Without notifications, she had to sit with herself. Therapy revealed a scared young woman tangled in online validation. Michael visited more, and we went to family counseling. I admitted I had avoided boundaries, and Lily admitted she equated attention with love. We cried and yelled and slowly rebuilt trust. Healing was not linear, and doubt lingered, but honest conversations stitched us back together. Months later, Lily spoke at a community center about the dangers of chasing virality. She admitted hurting loved ones for strangers and said no amount of views was worth your integrity. After the talk, she hugged me and thanked me for saving her from herself. Looking back, I realized justice, not revenge, drove me. Satisfaction came from knowing she faced reality. Love means cheering your children on and intervening when they go astray. Boundaries are loving. In a world where attention is currency, authenticity matters. The most meaningful likes come from around a dinner table with phones down. I hope others remember that before trading relationships for applause. Reactions varied. Friends unfollowed her, neighbors brought casseroles, strangers thanked me, and critics accused me of ruining her future. Lily completed community service, picking up trash and serving at the food pantry without filming. She later admitted the humiliation forced her to look inward. Volunteering beside her, we rediscovered memories not tied to views. We created new rituals like a weekly no-screens night. Lily went back to school to study media ethics. She still posts but focuses on volunteering and mental health. She measures her worth in smiles and speaks to others about authenticity.